Every spring I can hardly wait to get out in the garden and do a little planting, and when the weather's right we can get outside and plant some more tender crops, but depending on what the weather's like we still have to protect those. So we're going to do a little bit of tomato planting today. We've got some great varieties of tomatoes here. So we've got a little 4-pack of Celebrity, which is one of my favorite tomatoes. Excellent compact plant, produces like crazy. This is a new variety that we grew ourselves, and it's called Health Choice, and it's a seedless tomato, and we've got it in a peat pot. I'm going to show you the difference of planting them from taking them out of a 4-pack to planting them in a peat pot. And then I've got a much larger gallon-sized tomato, and this is a Jet Star, real early tomato, nice size, great fruit, really good quality. So I've got a lot of different varieties of tomatoes at Anderson's for you to choose from. Anderson seed, we try and bring in a wide variety of hybrids as well as heirlooms and all kinds of unusual different varieties of tomatoes to try. It's really a lot of fun to try something different. But when we're planting, there's a couple different things that we want to do. Of course, I like to use my trusty trowel, so we're going to start with the smallest one first. I'll make a small hole that'll work just fine for those. We've got a couple of fertilizers we like to plant with the tomatoes when we're planting, but most importantly, we've got a really neat product, and it's called Kangaroots from Bush Doctor. Kangaroots is a combination of natural rooting hormone, beneficial microbes and microorganisms, mycorrhiza, which will make the root system just take off like crazy, and a very mild fertilizer. One of the best root drenches we've ever used for any type of plants, and the Kangaroots just makes the plants get established quicker. They don't go through the transplant shock nearly as much, and it just makes them root like crazy. So I've mixed some of this up, and we're going to water our tomato with it once we get it planted. So this is the Kangaroots. I like to put just a little bit down the bottom of the hole, just so there's a little bit of moisture. It's important when you're taking the tomatoes out of the containers that they're in that you try not to damage the root systems too much. So I usually just kind of squeeze the bottom of the plant and pull that out. Looks like we've got a helper here today. It's one of our curious planters. Try not to damage that root system. We'll put that right down in the hole. Backfill with a little bit of the soil. And this is really nice, light, loose, fluffy soil. If your soil's heavy and a lot of clay, we definitely recommend you mix some soil building compost, any type of organic matter into the soil to try and lighten that up. And sometimes we even put a little bit of potting soil in there too. But just kind of tamp that soil down around a little bit. I like to make a little bit of a well to help the tomato hold the moisture. So we'll kind of create a little bit of a well. Water it again. Give it a little bit more of the Kangaroots. Getting a little bit of wind this morning. And then I've got a great fertilizer from Happy Frog that's made for tomatoes and vegetables. Very, very good fertilizer. It's all natural, all organic. It's got a blend of all kinds of micronutrients and calcium in there for the tomatoes. Usually just a small, about a tablespoon per plant is all we'd use, and kind of work that into a 12 by 12 inch area right around the tomato. Just like that. And usually I'll take a little bit of soil, kind of work that in around it so it doesn't wash away. And we're ready to go. When we're doing a plant with a peat pot, nice thing about the peat pots is we don't have to pull it out of the container. We can just leave it right in there. As you can see, there's roots growing out the bottom of the peat pot already. We're going to do less damage to the plant because it can stay right in the container. So when we dig our hole, I have to dig a little bit larger hole because we've got a bigger pot. I'll usually just tear the top off. So there's just a little bit of a lip right there. We'll just tear that top off. This is just a peat moss pot. That just kind of makes the edge a little bit cleaner and nicer to work with. A little bit of our Kangaroots down on the bottom. And then we don't even have to take it out of the container. We can just let those roots just work right in there. Backfill. And we'll just start the process all over again. with this one. We want to protect those tomatoes. Obviously these are a little bit close together. As they get bigger, we're going to want those plants probably at least 3 to 4 feet apart, and so I'll probably take one and move it. But to give them a little bit of added growth early on in the season, either a hot cap or a grow it now protector like this one will do a great job at protecting your plant from cold and from frost, but also will generate a lot of heat and get those plants really growing early. So I'll put that in around the tomato, put a couple spikes down to keep the wind from blowing it away. You can leave the top open, or you can close the top up. So if you got a nice warm day, we're going to leave the top open so it can ventilate, and on a nice cold day, I guess we should say, we can close that up and it will protect your tomato. So they'll lock together like that, and so we can protect that plant and keep it so the cold won't bother it. Generates a lot of heat, gets some early growth off the tomatoes, and really get them started off on the right foot. So last thing I wanted to show you was how to take a gallon out. So the bigger the pot, usually I'll just squeeze those pots. Of course, we dig a much larger hole for this guy. Slide him out. Look at the root system on that. So a nice big heavy duty root system ready to go. And we'd plant it. You could, since it's a little bit taller tomato, you could plant it a little bit deeper and put a little bit more soil in around it to keep it from tipping over. But very easy to take those out of the 1 gallon pots without doing any damage to the root system. Love doing the peat pots because you don't have to take them out of the pot, they can just go right in the ground. And definitely make sure and get your tomatoes protected. Use a little bit of fertilizer on them, and definitely use the kangaroos. Makes those plants get established and take off so much quicker, and hopefully you'll have great success with your tomato growing this summer.